Let's be honest. The idea of waking up at 5 a.m. always sounded like something other people did. Super successful CEOs, the elite athletes, the people who seem to have 30 hours in their day, while the rest of us are just trying to keep up. I saw the inspirational quotes, the articles, the videos, promising a life of productivity and peace, all just by setting an alarm for a time that felt more like the middle of the night. For years, I told myself, that's not me. I'm not a morning person. It was a label I wore like a comfortable old sweater, an excuse that kept me hitting the snooze button, starting my day in a frantic rush, already behind before my feet even hit the floor. The decision to try it for 30 days wasn't born from a sudden burst of superhuman motivation. It came from a place of quiet desperation. I was tired. Not just physically tired, but tired of feeling like I was constantly reacting to my life instead of creating it. My days were a chaotic blur of emails, deadlines, obligations, leaving no space for me, for my goals, for the quiet reflection I craved. I felt stuck in a spin cycle of being busy but not productive. The promise of a silent, uninterrupted hour in the morning felt like a lifeline, a chance to finally grab the steering wheel of my own day before the world woke up and started making its demands. So, I made a promise to myself. Just 30 days. That first night, as I set my alarm for 5 a.m., my stomach was in knots. It felt like I was prepping for a final exam I hadn't studied for. A wave of doubt washed over me. What if I fail? What if I just hit snooze a dozen times like I always do? What if this is just another thing I start and don't finish? The fear of letting myself down was almost as powerful as the desire for change. It was a simple act, just setting an alarm, but it represented a huge commitment. A commitment to stop making excuses, start taking action, even if it was just for one small, dark hour in the morning. That first alarm was brutal. It sliced through the silence of my room, and my first thought was a resounding, nope. My body felt like it was made of lead. My mind was a fuzzy, protesting mess. Every fiber of my being screamed for just 5 more minutes. This is the moment of truth, isn't it? It's where most of us give up. But then, a different thought pushed through the fog. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I had decided this would be my secret weapon. Instead of negotiating with myself, instead of thinking about how tired I was, I just counted backward and launched myself out of bed before my brain could talk me out of it. The first few mornings were clumsy. I would stumble out of bed. I'd switch on the alarm. I'd stand in the quiet darkness of my kitchen, unsure what to do with this newfound time. I knew I couldn't just scroll through my phone. The goal was to be intentional. So I started with the basics. The very first thing I did was drink a huge glass of water. It was a powerful signal to my body that the day had begun. It felt like hydrating my intentions and washing away grogginess. After hydrating, I needed to move my body. I wasn't about to run a marathon. On day 1, it was simple stretching on a yoga mat. I focused on my breathing as stiffness began to release. Over the first week, this evolved. Some days, a 20-minute online yoga class. Other days, a brisk walk around the neighborhood at pre-dawn. The air was crisp and invigorating. Seeing the world so still, with a few other early risers, felt like a secret club. Movement wasn't punishment. It was generating energy. Once my body was awake, I engaged my mind. I'd make a cup of coffee, sit in my favorite chair, and open a journal. Before I started this 30-day challenge, my mornings were a battlefield. The snooze button was my enemy. I was losing the war every single day. I'd finally drag myself out of bed at the last possible second, feeling groggy, irritable, already overwhelmed. My body felt heavy and sluggish. This was a sign I wasn't getting quality rest. My mind was foggy, struggling to focus. I'd rush getting ready, chug coffee like it was air, race out the door disoriented. Physically, I felt like I was running on empty. The first week was a shock to the system. I was exhausted by 3 p.m. It felt like permanent jet lag. My body was confused by the new schedule. I had headaches, Workouts felt twice as hard. But mentally, something curious happened. Even tired, I felt a strange sense of accomplishment. That first hour of quiet was powerful. It created a protected bubble of calm. By the end of week 2, a shift occurred. The afternoon slump started to disappear. My body began to adjust. I got sleepy earlier, around 9:30–10 p.m. Instead of fighting it, staying up scrolling on my phone, I listened to my body and went to bed. This was the key. Waking up early forced a better evening routine. Physically, I woke up more rested. The 5 a.m. alarm was still early, but no longer a cruel punishment. It became a rhythm, a healthier cadence. After 30 days, the transformation was undeniable. I had more sustained energy all day. I no longer needed the 3 p.m. caffeine hit. I felt stronger in workouts, less stiff in the mornings. Mentally, the change was deeper. The morning fog was gone, replaced by sharp clarity. I felt more proactive, more in control, significantly less anxious. Instead of starting stressed and rushed, I started with intention and peace. I was no longer a victim of my schedule. I was the architect of it. The journey was not a straight line to success. Around day 10, I hit a massive wall. The novelty had worn off completely, and the chronic sleepiness felt overwhelming. It was a cold, rainy morning, and the thought of leaving my warm bed felt physically painful. My brain went into overdrive with excuses. You've been doing so well, you deserve a break. One day off won't hurt. This is crazy. Normal people don't do this. The temptation to give in, to just hit snooze and surrender, was immense. This is the critical point where most resolutions die, in this quiet negotiation you have with yourself in the dark. My strategy for pushing through was simple. I refused to think. I didn't allow myself to weigh the pros, cons. I just went back to my rule: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a tool I use to interrupt the habit loops of hesitation, self-doubt, and fear. By counting backward, you activate your prefrontal cortex, shifting into a mode of action. Before my mind could concoct another brilliant excuse, my feet were on the floor. Before this experiment, my mental state was a tangled mess of reactivity. My phone was the first thing I reached for in the morning, and with that single action, I was immediately flooded with the world's demands. Emails from my boss, breaking news alerts, social media notifications, it was just a tidal wave of other people's priorities. This put me in a defensive crouch from the moment I woke up. My entire day was spent putting out fires, responding to requests, and feeling like I was constantly one step behind. My own goals, my own well-being, my own thoughts were always pushed to the bottom of the list. I felt like a passenger in my own life, being pulled along by the currents of everyone else's needs. The biggest mental shift was the move from being reactive to being proactive. That golden hour from 5 to 6 was mine. No emails, no notifications, no requests. By journaling, meditating, and reading, I was consciously deciding what was important to me. I was defining my own success for the day before anyone else could define it for me. It rewired my brain to start the day on offense, not defense. If you're reading this and thinking, I could never do that, stop right there. That is the exact same thing I told myself for years. The truth is, you can. The secret isn't about having superhuman willpower. It's about having a simple plan and the courage to take the first step. Don't go from a 7:30 wake-up to 5 a.m. overnight. That's a recipe for failure. Start by waking up just 15 minutes earlier. Do that for a week. Then subtract another 15 minutes. This gradual approach lets your body and mind adapt without shock. Prepare the night before. Lay out clothes. Put water by your bed. Have your journal and book ready. Put your alarm across the room. If you have to get up to turn it off, you've already won half the battle. Reduce friction so it's easier to start than to crawl back into bed. Have a why. Your reason must be stronger than your comfort. Write it down where you'll see it and remember the reward waiting for you. A weak why will never survive a battle with a warm comforter. Finally, be kind to yourself. This is not about perfection. It is about progress. If you slip, just get back on track the next day. This 30-day challenge taught me that the person we are capable of becoming is waiting for us in those quiet morning hours. It taught me that control over your morning gives you control over your day, and control over your days gives you control over your life. You have one life. It is happening right now. Don't wait to start living it. Start tomorrow morning. I'll see you at sunrise. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more content.